Russell Brand is in the headlines at the minute for this ape allegation. And I don't, whether I don't agree with whether he's done it or he hasn't done it. That's not the point here. I'm not here to play judge, jury, and execution. I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to give you my opinion on why I think this is wrong. And the reason why I think this is wrong, and many other media outlets, I'm not a media outlet, but many media outlets, not the mainstream media outlets, have come out and said, well, this is an attack from how Andrew Tate calls the Matrix. This is an attack from, as Russell Brand calls, the machine, the big pharma. And he did a very famous quote speech recently. When I say recently, it was definitely this year, on one of the American talk shows. I think it was Conan O'Brien or something like that. And he came up with a list and he said, right, they have benefited. Certain companies have made trillions and billions of dollars from the. I shouldn't have even said that, but you get what I'm trying to say. I'm going to actually blur that out, that word. But the word I was saying there that's blurred out is this word. This word, the jabbing word. Okay, so the point is, look, I can't even say that word without in fear of getting censored. And I'm still growing. I'm still, if I don't grow and play by the rules, then how am I going to get my name? Am I going to get the notoriety out there to push my message ultimately? It's not going to be able to happen. So I have to play by the rules. So that's why I have to blur these words out. And at the minute, yeah, sorry, what was I saying about, let me go back to that first. So he spoke about this thing and he said that it was funded by the public, yet the public didn't get the money for it when it sold. So they profited after getting the funding from the public. So it's ridiculous if you actually think about it. And it's so true what that guy says. Imagine me now thinking I have an idea and say, right, I tell you what, guys, I want to sell t-shirts, but if everybody can just fund it for me, that'd be great. Thank you very much. And then I sell it and I make $1 trillion on it and I keep all the profits myself. Yet it was the public who funded the t-shirts. So you see what I mean? So he had a good point. It is all about money. It was always about money. It was always only about the money. And it was always about control as well for certain people. So Brand had a great message. But here's the issue when you have a message which goes against their narrative, which goes against what they're trying to portray, which goes against what they're trying to sell. And they don't like to have this light to be shed on them. The light of this transparency of where's the billions gone? Where's the trillions gone? Why did you make this? Why did you manufacture this? What was your point of this? Why are now the WHO coming out and saying this was wrong, this was incorrect, this is right, this is wrong? There's a lot of, look, we know there was a lot of holes in that story. There was many holes in that story. And they just didn't like what he said. That's point blank, whether you want to believe it or not. This has nothing to do with what happened. This has nothing to do with the allegations. This has got nothing to do with the women's rights, with equal opportunities, with, these women that have now stepped forward and said, yes, he did this to us. It's nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with their reputation was tarnished. And recently, I saw a graph on how fast Russell Brand had grown. He'd grown from 1 million to 7 or 8 million subscribers on YouTube within the year, and he hit 1 billion views. That's insane, absolutely crazy that he hit 1 billion views. And I participated in a lot of that because I love watching the guy's content. Not always, he's a bit crazy, but if it was on my news feed, I'd watch it. Make it like that. I would watch it. I'd give it a couple of minutes, and then he always says, "Go over to Rumble," So I watched the most part of it on YouTube, and I do like the guy. So this was a blatant attack by the machine, and so much so that, and this has happened with Tate as well, where they will contact any female that you've been in touch with, any female that you've been in contact with. Have you got a story to tell us about Brand? And if the story fits their narrative, they'll print it. If it doesn't print their narrative, like many women have come out now and actually made videos and said they came to us as well, but we just said he took us out, went for a meal, chilled, did whatever, and that was that. And the niceness that this guy did wasn't printed, but which leads you to think, how authentic are these stories of the women? Now, we all know women. Thankfully, women don't watch me. We all know women lie. They bullshit. It's just the way it is. And if money is at stake, if you're offered money, then why are you not going to lie? Why not just tell a few porkies? Why not just tell a couple of, bullshit stories to get your name more relevant or out there in the press? No one popular has come forward and said, by the way, this is what's happened. I don't see Katy Perry coming forward and saying, by the way, Brand did this to me when he was married. No, you don't. You don't see people like that because they're not the ones chasing fame. You don't see anyone popular coming forward about Tate and saying, and how many celebrities has he plowed through? How many celebrities has Brand plowed through? And yet, is anyone who's popular come forward and said, actually, yeah, this is what the guy did? And, even if they did, I'm Team Brand. And I'm not Team Brand because I watch his content and I think he's a nice guy and I think he's very genuine. But look, guys who have money have the open selection, like literally open season, bro. It's a buffet out there for guys with money. If you're in shape, if you're popular, and you have money, the buffet's, what can I say? You guys already know what I'm talking about. You only have to go to the basics of that, to the nightclub, and you see a guy with a table and you see all the chicks flocking around the table. That's the very animal instinct of fame, money, women. Then you see a Lamborghini, and we've seen the gold digger pranks all the time. Hey, I'm just a cleaner. Do you want to get in my car? No. All of a sudden, he's getting in his Lambo. Hey, yeah, let's jump in. And I know some of those are a bit fake, but the point is, it's true. It happens. It's real. It's just the way. And there's nothing wrong with that as well. I don't see anything wrong with it. Women are looking for security. Women are looking for someone to take care of them, to provide for them. So when they have kids, they've always got someone there to financially support them, because women aren't supposed to be out there making the money, doing all the boss lady work and making sure they get their paper and making sure they put the down payment on the house and making sure they've got the bag. No, it's the male's responsibility to do that. And a lot of females out there, if they know their worth, will go out and find someone to do that. So I don't blame the women in doing that. That's just the way it is. You go all the way back to caveman era, right the way back to the caveman era. Women needed safety, they needed security. So if the guy had a cave and he could make sure that the beasts at night don't come into the cave or in the daytime and protected that female, he got what in return? Yes, exactly. You got a bit of booty in return. And as long as he came back and shared that carcass with the female, she would have, they would mate together. And that's how the caveman era kind of went. It's the oldest trade in the world. The oldest trade in the world. So yes, it has some value at times, but it also has its disadvantages, and it's got its disadvantages now. We can see it with Russell Brand. So the reason for making this video actually is nothing, to be honest with you. My point is that I do not believe that the allegations put on him are correct. I don't believe it. Just the way they came about. If this had just been like something out the blue and he'd not done all this, craziness, well, decentness, but they call it craziness with the whole thing that happened 2 years ago, then I don't believe this would be taking place right now. I believe he'd be making his content, being a comedian, being funny and whatever. And you know what? Just brings me to another thing as well. You know how quick people are to point the finger in the UK and quick people are to join the virtue signaling bandwagon of wokeness? Is that a lot of these promoters have now saying, we're giving the money back for his show. We're going to give the money back to the people that paid for the show. We don't want nothing to do with him. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What happened to that? Like this guy, okay, he has an allegation against him, right? He has an allegation. Okay, it's an allegation. Doesn't he have the right to have his say and his day in court? What happened recently to a footballer? I don't even remember. I don't watch football, but there was a black footballer. I believe he's Muslim because he came out and he said Alhamdulillah, but she destroyed his career. This girl destroyed his career, all on an allegation. And it came out after maybe a year or 2 years. He was fighting this case. His club dropped him. His teammates left him. Everybody said, no, we don't want nothing to do with this guy. We don't want to sponsor him. He's tarnishing our reputation. It came out, and what happened at the end? He got found not guilty. He won the trial, but the reputation was tarnished. And this is what they do. I'm not saying that was an attack from the machine, but this is definitely an attack from the machine. And the best way to smear somebody's reputation is this allegation, because this is something that everybody can rally around. This is one of those things that everybody can get around and say, do you know what he did this, he's He's buying clothes from China and they're a little bit unethical. He's avoiding tax and he's going through offshore accounts. Yeah, okay, we can get behind it. Some can, some can't. We can understand if you're rich. Yeah, we all will do this. We do this. You know, we can always wiggle our way around stuff. But one thing you can't wiggle your way around, and one thing that everybody is in agreement with, is that APE should not happen to anybody. But here's another issue, that when this kind of stuff gets thrown around, this fake madness that gets thrown around, when this actually happens to somebody, and it does happen a lot, I'm not saying it doesn't, it happens a hell of a lot, then when she goes out and says, so-and-so APE'd me, she's laughed upon. People are saying, no, she's just after the money. She's doing it for the fame. This isn't real. I don't believe with the guy. I don't believe what's happened. I'm with the guy. That's the other issue. Anyway, in other news, guys, I just turned my phone on and I hit 4K subs today. So I'm very pleased with hitting 4K subs. I want to hit 10. Well, I hit 5 first and I want to hit 10. So please like, comment down below and subscribe.